Mary Lou Barnes,
Here?
Chris Christoph,
I'm here.
Natalia Franklin,
Yes, here.
and Joe Costello, and Larry Rocco is present. Okay, Randall, we posted the meeting as required, correct?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay. Now, there's no minutes to approve because we haven't got them typed for the last meeting. We definitely need to come to some sort of a conclusion on this, or I'm going to hire somebody to type them for us.
Well, I've been suggesting that right along.
Yeah, well, I mean, we shouldn't have to do that with
Mr. Roca,
other...
can I try again? If you don't like, you can hire somebody. I just volunteer.
No, I thought you did a good job. Just send them to us so we can look at them, and then, because your English is good, but it's not perfect, and neither is mine.
I can make a suggestion. When Maria Burgos and I served, she being of Latin, born and raised in Puerto Rico, Spanish is her first language. When she was secretary, she used to email me the minutes, and I would proof them. I'm happy to do that. I'm just not able to, take full responsibility.
Right,
But
I understand. Well, okay, and Natalia, it doesn't have to be full-blown. It can be short, precise, and to the point.
Short and sweet.
All right, so I'll start with the president's report. It's been business as usual in Sandalwood Lake South. Nothing but people violating the rules and regulations, complaining about it, roof leaks, so on. All this is going to get into Randall's report, but we've got a lot of problems with the roof drains and Natalia's roof. And one thing I like to give immediate attention to is roofs, because if mine was leaking, I would want it fixed.
Sure.
And I feel the same as far as everybody else deserves the same. Now, in Natalia's case, it first surfaced as a little leak, I believe, on a Sunday, and then when she saw it was getting worse, Randall said, "I'll go over and I'll open up the ceiling," and she didn't want him to do that. That's her.
They opened the ceiling.
Well, I know, but you said, "Oh no, don't." I saw the.
No, they opened the ceiling. No.
Right.
First, I thought it's don't need because it was tiny little leak.
Right.
But they waiting on Tuesday when ceiling broke off.
Right.
Did you see that broke off? And after they already cut.
All right. So, but at any point, it takes a while because first of all, Randall has to notify the roofer. Then they have to send a proposal. They have to go inspect it. Then they send a proposal, and then I need to sign the proposal, and then it goes back to them to be scheduled. So you're looking at a few days in between. Now, I know Mary Lou wasn't happy with the length of time, but...
No, because I don't ever recall that happening in all the years where... I've served 11 years on the board, and we had multiple... It's an emergency, just like Buckeye will come out on a Sunday.
Yeah, the same things.
The roofer used to come. Campany and some of those other companies you use, they came out
They
on a
can
Sunday.
right away fix it
But
until they become...
I still say it was done in a reasonable length of time, and there was no more rain that caused any more damage.
It's made damage. It's now like almost 1/3 of ceiling must be removed, and because it start caving, massive damage. Now, because if it was too long, they're waiting. They should come in the Monday morning. You saw the
original picture.
And after it's a whole ceiling drop.
Now, as I understand, this first surfaced on the 5th of July.
Yeah,
So, but we have no control over the weather.
No.
But he should have
They
been out
they must somehow
Monday.
schedule. We're paying them so much money. We're paying for maintenance. Have enough people to come.
It's not that, Natalia, as much as we're not their only customer.
But we pay so much money, Mr. Roca. But now, very expensive repair. It's from our pocket.
Well, first of all, you have to realize the roofing companies are all busy at this time of year with all the heavy rains. I don't care if it's Campany, we're going to get quicker service than we are from somebody we don't use. Because they're going to put their customers first, just like Campany tries to put us. but we're not Campany's only roofing company.
Yeah, understand, but
Custom.
how Camps send the person after hurricane when they were so busy, they was able to come in several hours to emergency.
All right, so Randall,
We need to talk to
in the
them.
future, if it's leaking and you can't get them the next day, you're not going to get anybody else the next day, but see what you can do to narrow the length of time. I mean, they're going to give us better service than companies we don't use. That's all I'm telling you. Well, all I can tell you
it's
is,
disappointing that they couldn't at
Disappointing
least have
that
gotten
they
a
would
guy
take that so
out
much
on Monday
money.
morning to
What is the
inspect
difference?
it.
That's history.
listen,
Nothing you're gonna do
It's
to
just
clear-
because it's going to
But now
cost
it'll be-
all of us a fortune to fix
it's
our
not
ceiling.
it's not going to cost a fortune.
Sure it is.
That work is not that expensive.
No different than.
The bathroom ceiling being replaced?
So there's a tiny hole.
No,
or
not
it's
anymore.
a 4-foot hole. It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
And the same price. Because they have to replace anything that's already wet.
Okay, when
If it was a 4-inch hole and became a 4-foot hole,
Okay,
that's
I just
because
think-
4 foot
I
was
just
already
think
damaged.
that the sooner they could have come out like Buckeye does,
But now-
just
Well-
to appraise the damage,
Yeah.
it would have been. I would have been very happy to learn.
but
they
to
came
understand
out.
now,
Well-
it's another.
Company.
Let me say another problem because if it
Well,
was
Campany
leaking
has
too long,
worked for us before,
maybe look.
so
you can explain.
hello, they know us well.
Well, listen,
It's not only ceiling.
This is
Now,
the first
if you
time we've
think
used
they're
them.
slow, try getting a roofing company you don't use.
now
They-
it's side wall is wet. When they
Yeah.
came, you can ask them. When they came, they check ceiling. If they checked it, we have
So your
mirror,
wallpaper is
wall,
ruined
wall,
now?
all wall inside, like 70% moisture inside the wall. It means they must fix ceiling. And maybe they will open the wall to the bottom. Added furniture. How you can sink? How they can fix all this behind? I don't understand. They 70% moisture, 60-70%.
Okay, so a lot
Yeah.
was getting
Can you
wet.
imagine
A
it's a-
lot was getting wet before you knew about it. If
The-
that
the
much
big rain,
damage
the
happened,
big
was
rain was
leaking.
Tuesday.
that
Big
I
rain was
understand,
Tuesday.
but a big rain, we had big rains over the weekend as well.
Yeah, but Tuesday was.
All I'm saying, Natalia, is a lot of that damage was done before you knew it. I want everybody to be treated as good as me. If they can't come the same day, I can't control that. They have a work schedule.
You could threaten to fire them.
Oh, you can threaten to fire everybody, and then
Right.
the first thing you know,
We
you got
should
people that
protect
you
us.
call them, they're going to say, "We don't want to work with you."
We don't
Don't
stand
we have
up for
we
our
have a
contractors.
30-day walk, right? With
Why
them?
we stand up for our contractors?
Every
when we must
contract
stand up
we've
for
ever
our-
done.
we-
All right.
Why are we discussing-
All right,
I have a question.
enough of that. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Oh, do we have an ongoing program for inspecting the roofs?
We do.
Who's doing it and how often?
Campany
It's
Roofing.
already done. Once a year.
Once a year, they've already inspected the roofs for this
They
year.
did. Okay. Well, the roof that they just came to today to fix, for both sides of the unit, both my side and my neighbor's side, which had an accumulation of water, okay, they found considerable amount of debris from the trees up against the shroud that's over the 2-inch drain. They will not go down and fix that. They do not do that. That's a plumbing job because it's PVC pipe underneath it. They won't do that. Okay, so we need to know that. But this inspection that we have may need to be stepped up because water damage is a hell of a lot expensive to us than having an inspector going around twice a year and checking these roofs.
Listen, Joe, Randall and I have already met with Campany after the inspection was done, and my complaint to them at that time, which was 3-4 weeks ago, is we're paying for these roof inspections, but yet our roof problems haven't stopped. So why are we spending $33,000 for roof inspections when we're still having roof leaks? His answer was because a lot of these leaks don't show up in a roof inspection. And unless you want us to get into roof repairs, all we do is inspect them for obvious damage. And he said, and we did a study from last year after we did our inspection to this year after we did an inspection, and roof repairs are less.
A lot less.
A lot less. So, is it a perfect situation? No. Are we still going to have roof problems? Yes.
Just like we have plumbing problems.
Right. But we're doing our best for the amount of money we have to spend to take care of the problems.
Joe, may I ask
Now,
what unit number?
as soon as I finish what I'm about to say. In light of that, Campany should have told Randall that they don't do drain cleanouts a long time ago. This was the first I heard of it,
Yeah.
and the first Randall heard of
I
it.
haven't even heard of it yet from them personally.
You've
Right.
heard of it from me.
They are very
Trust me, I got a lot
poor.
to say about this
Campany
Campany
Roofing, I think they're trustworthy because we got other quotes to check them. And their prices were all within $100 of what other companies charge. And believe me, I think these companies all have the same rates. Because there's enough business to go around, none of them are going to be hurting.
Well, and in
But-
the past, Campany did do a good job, folks. In
But,
the
well,
past.
and they still do a decent job. But
But
in
drains
one of
would
their
be
one of their roof repairs that they came up to clear a clogged drain, and this is why I was surprised to hear that they don't. Randall went over while they were working on the roof, and they had tree branches and palm fronds down inside the pipe trying to clear it.
Oh, Jesus.
Right after they did that inspection, we had a heavy rain. The unit was flooded.
Well, that's the one. Okay.
Randall went over, cut the ceiling open, and there's a short pipe coming from the roof drain to an elbow that goes out toward the outside wall. That short pipe was broke off at the elbow. And there's no doubt in my mind Campany did it. So the first thing I did was tell Randall, you make sure you let them know we're going to hold them responsible. Or we're questioning this. There's no doubt in my mind they broke it off. So, as soon as we get all our invoices collected for that unit, we're going to pass them on to Campany Roofing. We're not going to eat their mistakes.
Who is the
And
one
this
that-
is
who is the-
alluding to the fact that I told you, I'm tough.
Thank you. Yeah.
I try to be fair, but I don't take any bullshit from anybody.
Who is the one that's responsible for the shrouds that are over the drain? That's not,
The roofer's
he
responsible
claimed it
for that.
wasn't him, because there were screens over it that he said they never used, okay? So I don't know who we're holding responsible, and if he hasn't attended every house around here, then we probably could find a variety of different kind of covers over those drains. We need to become, that's why I said, Larry, a long time ago, I told you, for $600, for $600, we could get a drone to fly over periodically and shoot these roofs and see what's going on. And do it on
The problem is, Joe, you're not going to see what's going on
No,
inside
yes,
the
you-
pipe.
No,
No, you're not going to see the pipe, but you're going to see buildup of debris
Randall
against.
can go on them from time to time. He's young.
Can I
strong.
finish what I'm saying?
Sure.
You will not see that, but you'll see the debris gathering. That's an indication you need somebody to go in and attend to cleaning that up. These screens that are on there, including one that's on my unit, is broken. Okay, the part of the shroud is broken. They put some sort of wire around it, but what has happened with the drain and the leaves building up, they gathered up around it and blocked it off, so now the water wasn't going down.
All right, Randall, I want you to make a note of that, and you get a hold of Campany and ask them in their roof inspections when they see broken covers, why aren't they replacing
I've
them?
got a lot to ask them.
Yeah.
Could I
I'm
jump in
not
a
happy
minute?
with them right now at all.
When the last time that we had the flat roofs restored, shall we say,
What
okay?
do you mean restored?
When they did the roofs.
When they did the flat roofs, restored them.
2005.
2006.
Okay,
2006.
2006, okay. What I would be curious is who has been replacing roof drains from that point on? I mean, I can go back and look at, and matter of fact, I just gave him a copy of 2013 and 14's
Well, actually,
financials. So they'll be in there. There'll be information
That is a
in there.
plumbing job. That's a responsibility of plumber, not the roofer.
Well, that's what
But
I'm
they
trying
should,
to
but the
remember.
roofer should be reporting it to us.
Well, no,
I'm
When
not
they're
denying-
up there
I'm
doing
not-
their inspection.
I'm not denying that, but my unit, Larry, if you recall, last July, we had that Manson corrected, the problem with the seals along the Manson. So between July and July, I had a buildup that blocked off the entire drainage on that roof. Something's going on that we're not aware of. So I think we need to address these kind of
well, we
situations.
need to
Otherwise,
talk to Buckeye then and see if they've been replacing the drains,
Yeah,
or just
well-
look at the financials.
I can tell you that Randall and I will be getting to the bottom of it with Campany Roofing.
well, I asked Buckeye today, I saw the guy before I left the house, he was in the parking lot. I said, did you finish? He says, yes, everything's done. I said, did you run the water through the thing? He says, yeah, I took a 5-gallon bucket and dropped it down the drain. I said, is that what you call flushing out? Okay, so well, that puts a lot of pressure. I don't think 5 gallons to do it that way is anything more than an expedient. Okay? You should have gone up with a hose, put a hose down there and flushed it out, or back flushed it from down below. Okay? You didn't do that. So I don't know what their service is and how they're going to do it, but you need to
Well,
find out.
we're not gonna take too much more time discussing what they should or shouldn't do, but Randall and I will be discussing what they should or
But
shouldn't do.
blaming people for things that may not be their responsibility.
Well, if it's not, they're the roofer. And if they see clogged drains, they need to report it so we can have it taken care of.
I agree with that.
So, we'll get to the bottom of it. Now, the other thing in my report that I want to mention is harassment in the community. I won't tolerate it for homeowners or workers. When workers are in here working, we're not to harass them, and we're not to harass our neighbors. We have a situation, and I'm not mentioning names or unit numbers, but this particular person's husband has been harassing neighbors for quite some time. And Randall got involved in it, had a meeting with the lady, and this poor woman is a very nice lady, and her daughter lives with her. And I got to the bottom of it with the homeowner that's doing the harassing, and I said, rather than give it to Rawson, because I already know, I've been through this once, and I know what can be done. So to save money with the attorney, I said, I'm going to give this homeowner one last chance, and I sent them a text outlining what will be done if we get any more complaints. I said, we already have enough complaints to proceed. But because of your past good standing with the association, I'm going to give you one last chance to get this under control. And they sent back, what can you do? And I said, well, if you'll remember a guy by the name of Reg Mansour who lived on 62nd Way who was harassing his neighbors for years. The very first board meeting I attended with this association, there was a young nurse there in tears because he kept harassing her and the board wasn't doing anything about it. As soon as I became president, it took me exactly 6 months and he put his place up for sale. And the reason was, it was going to cost him too much to continue to live here. Because we had a case file on him. We already had enough information to know we were going to win, and he would have had to pay his attorney and our attorney. And it would have been a minimum of $10,000. His choice was put his unit up for sale. And that's what he did. So this is what the association has the power to do. We're not harassing people. Nobody deserves to live and be harassed.
I agree.
So,
Joe, just because we're ending this, that unit number that you spoke of?
6102,
Thank you.
6103, 6104, 6101.
Oh, so the whole quad?
The drains, there's only 2 drains on our roofs, I want you
Yeah,
to know that.
right, yes.
Okay? And by the way, the Buckeye said they should have probably been 3-inch drains, not 2-inch, for the size of the roof. But
Well, that's,
I also found out that Sandalwood Lakes has only one drain on their roofs over there, so.
All right, so that's what I have to say, and then other than the normal business in here of people challenging our rules and regulations and what we deal with on a daily basis, but Randall's doing a good job of uncovering a lot of lease units that aren't on record with the association,
Registered.
and they're not registered with us, and we're flushing them out. He's doing a great job on that, and we're slowly getting them to comply.
By the way, Lita Hoffa has a tenant at 6104 61st Way,
Yeah.
okay? I have observed this guy taking dog waste in a bucket because he has a dog in the house and dumping it into the dumpster. He had already dumped it when I asked him, what the hell are you dumping in the dumpster there? And
From
he
a
said,
bucket, no bag, not in a bag?
no,
Oh, my
he picked it
goodness.
up in his house, he took it and he dumped it in our dumpster.
Oh, my God.
They also were shooting fireworks off all 4th of July.
Yeah.
Big stuff, not little stuff.
Are
And
they on the
secondarily,
lake?
they leave their beer cans and debris all on the grassy areas around their cars where they park.
Oh.
And I've had enough. I picked up enough of that crap. I ain't picking up anymore. So we need to get somebody to talk to Leadoff and let him know.
I'll let him know, because I'll tell you what, I'll say one thing about Patrick. When he knows
He's good,
there's a
yeah.
problem, he makes sure they correct it, or he tells them, I'll have you evicted. The association won't have to evict you, I'll evict you.
Yeah, because we have the right to evict them if they keep ignoring the
Because
rules.
they fix cars in their parking space. I've seen them. do
All right,
that.
I'll let him know.
They were the ones.
He'll take care of it, believe me. He owns a unit on 68th Way, and the guy either has a restaurant or works at a restaurant and was bringing vegetable boxes home, filling the dumpster up with it.
Oh, my
We got two
God.
different parties we're talking about.
And I let Patrick know, and it has stopped. It stopped instantly. So I'll take care of it, Joe. All right, so now we're going to have the treasurer's report. Chris has a lot to tell us.
All right. We'll start with, there's a couple of things we're going to go through. We had to go through the budget. Obviously, the audit was completed as well. We have just a bunch of other stuff to talk about. I'm going to start with the financial overview for the month as well as the previous period. As many of you are aware probably by now on the board, the July as well as the May financial packet had a series of accounting mistakes that have been cleared up. We're still working on a couple of other categories, but I'll talk about the issues later, but I just want to mention that up front. So last month we obviously booked the association general expenses that I mentioned in the previous report. So that's where a lot of the legal fees come from. Our HOA is in better shape. The losses are narrowing, but I mean, if you look at the overall financial picture, we have an annual to date billing expense of, like, example, building repair being at $65,000 versus an annual budget of $10,000. Fences being at $34,000 versus an annual budget of $0. The roofs are 15 over. The water is 14 over. So there's no question that we're going to be over this year. The thing we have to do is to try to conserve as much capital as possible so we can narrow these losses as much as possible. Notably helping, not doing a lot of concrete work and not doing a lot of some of the other capital projects we had intended to do this year has helped try to stem that thing. So,
Chris,
yeah.
my man,
Mhm.
you glanced over this thing of the errors that you reported to us.
Yeah.
And I told Larry I'd gone back and pulled out the financials to take a look at when it occurred. It appeared to occur in May.
Correct.
Okay.
There's
It seemed to have no impact on the other reports of the general accounting and the balances.
It has to. So the error that's made only affected. It's due to the way that she accounted it in their software. It's not an actual accounting error. So in that sense, it would have affected the May financial report and the June financial report only on the specific report from January
P&L.
to the unit. Yeah, for the P&L
that's the
action.
only one.
Right. Yeah.
But
That's
all the other things that we have,
right. The
all
top
accounts were
report
proper.
for the P&L for like each individual month
Because
is
it
still
made it
correct.
sound like we had a loss of $33,000.
Oh no.
No.
No, I had time to explain that it was only the bottom P&L, which is why I said to.
Now, there was a question that Larry brought up, and I need to get a clarification.
Yep.
We paid late the HOA,
Yep.
which was for the last quarter of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
We prepaid the POA is what happened. No, we paid not the. You're talking about the May one is we prepaid in advance. Is the issue? Genie booked it as a cash expense instead of an accrual expense.
Okay.
So on our P&L normally, instead of having a 34 recognized all in May, you're supposed to have 10,000, roughly 10,000
I
recognized.
understand.
Yeah.
A month, each
Correct.
month, yeah.
Right.
Let him finish report. Yeah, and after we'll
Right. So there's a couple of other ones that we had. You may notice that we have a new budget item this month for the resurgence of I think it's like 5035, which is for dumpster fees.
Yeah, I asked about that.
Yeah. So we've been going through some of the categories. There are some categories that have been used and haven't been used in previous years. Previously, a lot of like the Hello Junk was all done under building repair and maintenance. Is where those got booked with Genie, and now those are going to be booked moving forward on their own category. And additionally, we did catch that one of the bills for Buckeye Plumbing was in the accounting software billed twice. So we didn't actually pay them twice. It's just an accounting error that somebody copied the thing in to show it twice. So that would have affected one of them, which is why it has a negative balance if you compare it versus the actual
How
bills.
the hell did they balance if they did that double posting?
I'm sorry?
How did they balance?
Well, what happens is that they do the paying completely separate. So they basically pay the bills and then they enter it into their accounting software. The accounting software doesn't actually read the bills themselves. So it's a manual accounting system.
Now, Got Junk, or in past other companies, that used to always be taken out of operating years ago.
Correct.
That was an operating expense because every month it fluctuated. It wasn't a flat rate from the dumpster pickup. What?
let him finish.
Oh, no,
guys.
excuse me. Yeah, but no, other people have asked questions and said something, and I emailed Chris and asked him this very question. I reviewed all the financials yesterday and today. So, anyway, so Got Junk used to be operating. Now it's going to be its own line item. And yet it fluctuates the amount every month. So how can something be a line item if the cost fluctuates?
The line item fluctuates for almost everything that we have.
Well, not
Building repair and maintenance.
reserves or not POA or insurance. A lot of the things we pay monthly are flat rate.
A lot of them
Those
are,
fixed-
but a lot of them
those are fixed
fluctuate.
rates, so you
Yeah.
can have
Fixed,
variable.
well, fixed rates,
Right,
yes.
but a lot of them fluctuate. Building repair fluctuates, plumbing repair fluctuates.
Yeah, I understand that.
fluctuates,
I understand that.
Only a handful are the flat line. Anyway,
Okay, continue. Yeah.
so I'll be meeting again with Jeannie. We've got some more recategorization. We've got to figure out where some of these things are going into. Mary
I
Lou.
also would like to see Jeannie on a P&L report
Mhm.
when she quotes the budget plus or minus, okay? To
Okay.
show that with a figure that either she prints it in red or she brackets it, because the little dash next to it can very easily be overlooked.
Okay, I can
It's
give her
small
that. Yeah.
And it's something that will jump out at you if you're looking at negatives to see if we're behind on budget.
Yeah.
You can see that very quickly.
Yeah, I can pass it on to her for sure. So Mary Lou asked a question. I lost all the progress that I had made on this between the time I left the office and when I got here. So I don't have the exact number of the complete new delinquents, but
Right.
the total number is 60. So I can.
So
it's
60
it-
people have
60
not paid
The-
July or June.
60 people have not paid the June.
Have not paid June. And
Correct.
last month, how many was it you
I
recall?
don't recall off the top of my head.
I'd have to go back through my
I think
written
it was
notes.
40.
I
Yeah.
do too, that rings my
Well, that
bell.
may not be an accurate count.
Well,
No, how we looked,
Because I looked at it too, and my number was listed as being delinquent for
well,
June.
but it doesn't show past 60.
What happened?
right, we're only looking
Right.
at past 30 days.
To be
not-
clear, we're
not-
looking at the delinquents as of current. So what happens
Yes.
is what
I'm sorry,
happens.
I was talking about July.
Right.
July.
Yeah, we're talking
Right.
June 30th.
There's-
The report is June
But the
30th.
reason she does that is because she's pre-posting,
Right.
that
There's
report.
there's two different reports. There's one
Right.
that's as of the end of the month and one as of current. And some of so even in both reports, you can be marked as delinquent without even if you've already paid. It just has to do with when they post to the account.
All right.
But
Just-
60
I
people.
want to interject something here. The way we're handling this is once they hit 90 days.
Right.
Well, actually, before they hit 90, but no later than 90.
Right.
Jeannie sends them an email letting them know they're approaching $1,000 delinquent.
Right.
Encouraging them to get caught up. Because once it goes over 90 days, we automatically send it to the attorney. It goes to collections. And they'll have to work out a payment plan, but then they're going to incur attorney's fees and costs. So it's to their advantage not to let it go over 1,000. Once
days,
the
Larry,
attorney
it's gonna-
gets it, and it hits a certain number with the attorney, which I believe is 2,000 or 3,000, we file a lien foreclosure. The reason this is going on in our community is because we have people living in here that bit off more than they can chew. There's most people that are laid off are getting more money or as much or more than they were when they were working. 600 from the government and 275 from the
Guess what?
state. That's
I haven't
$875.
collected my unemployment yet, and I've had to file an appeal with the DEO.
Well,
Okay, just to give you an idea, so
But
there could be
that's
other
not-
homeowners
that's-
that also have not seen
that's an
unemployment.
exception, not the rule.
Okay.
So what they're doing is they're using their money for other things and figuring they're just not going to pay us.
I think we should give them an opportunity. For
No.
example,
Listen, Margaret.
maybe 351 is what's due. Okay, so maybe if they give us 480 or something,
Then we
and
gotta
they
start
keep
a count.
chipping
That's a
away.
payment plan. And
Chipping
that's
away.
worked out through the attorney
We
legally.
can do it without,
No, we
we can
can't.
start without it.
Listen,
as attorney.
enough of them renege on the payment plans when they're legally bound to it, let alone when
First
we're just
90
giving them the
days,
time.
we don't need to go to Rawson and pay for it.
First of all,
Well,
90 days,
we're
you're
gonna
over
pay it.
$1,000
They're
a
going to pay
year.
it. That's what you're not understanding. When it goes to the attorney, they're responsible for attorney's fees, interest, and costs.
So we're trying to protect them. They have a responsibility.
They have
If you
a
can't afford your home-
responsibility.
If you can't afford your home, the community is not in a position to support you.
We're not
Which is
a
what
bank.
we're doing. Accounting firm, after 60 days, should prep the letter to the...
Well, that's
let them know
basically what they're doing.
If they go
Once
90 days...
we give them 30 days notice that
Right.
they need to get caught up or make a payment, because once they hit that $1,000 threshold, they're going to incur more costs.
Right. So I think
So
that's
we're
fair.
trying to warn them, give them ample notice. Now, here, we had a guy who made a proposal who's quite wealthy. Randall knows him. He has plenty of money. He's an engineer. But he rents his unit. And this is what's happening, and this is what ticks me off. The landlords are the biggest ones. They're collecting their rent, and we're not collecting our assessments. So what we're doing with them is when they're behind, they get a letter from the attorney letting them know that we're going to be collecting the assessments or the rent until they're caught up with their assessments. You can't let things like this slide or we'll be in bankruptcy. This is our source of income. We have to maintain it.
Either that or what we have to do is raise our monthly maintenance.
No, we're not going to raise our monthly
Let me
assessments.
finish.
I'm dead set against that.
I'm dead set against it too.
If you do raise it, you're going to depreciate the value of your...
Exactly, that's what I told you yesterday.
Okay.
I'm not in favor of devaluating the property. If we push comes to shove and we need to raise money, I'm in favor of a one-time assessment as opposed to raising monthly assessments, because all that does is lower property values.
All right, continuing on.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
So we have, like I said, ongoing recategorization with Jeannie. We'll be talking with her more this week to try to iron out some additional stuff from the budget. With the reserve study, we got back 2 quotes. One from Sedgwick, which was $3,875. And then we also got one back from Association Reserves. Their proposal was $2,880 if we did a 1 year, just the on-site normal thing, and then if we wanted to add 2 additional years of off-site, just bookkeeping updates to it, it'd be $4,192. In my opinion, I think we should go with the Association Reserve one. Their sample reserve study looked better to me.
plus Sedgwick was a disaster.
And
They
yeah,
were like a joke. We're trying to get it just to get. You have no idea what I went
yeah,
through.
I can imagine. Sedgwick's
both of
ratings
them,
are
quite
horrific.
frankly, I still want to get others because
Yeah.
I gave you a bunch of others that we could go after.
Yeah.
But I still don't understand the questions that they ask, the form that they have me fill out. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I
For,
don't know how
for
they can-
Sedgwick?
for both.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't understand. Well, subject to, but it was similar. So I just don't understand how they can make some sort of proposal based on the questions. Like they don't know enough about what we need. So I think whoever we want to talk to need to have a more in-depth assessment of what we actually are looking for. I mean, obviously to fund our reserves the proper way, right? That's
Right.
the bottom line. So, but I don't think they have enough information on the community to even begin.
So the report template for the most part is mandated by law as to how the report is written. So a lot of them you'll go around, you'll go to these reserve. Their numbers are going to they'll be able to calculate it simply based on they have an idea of the number of units that we have in our community. They see the size of it. It's not that hard to pull from Google Maps, and they know how much it costs them to actually write the report itself. So I don't think it's that difficult.
No,
for them
that
to
sounds
calculate.
kind of broad range. It doesn't sound too specific. Did they ask to see our financials to see what our numbers look like?
That would be Randall did the quotes, but no, not to my
They
knowledge.
didn't ask them. They don't
No,
have any specific
normally
information.
the way a
Just
reserve study
general
works is
questions.
after we accept their quote, they're going to scoop like a lot. Like Randall thought the audit was going to be bad. This is going to be a lot worse. They're going to get financials. They're going to want copies of all the estimates that we've gotten for basically everything. Yeah, because they're going to have to go.
We got a lot of manpower efforts of our own to put into this to get them the information they need.
Right, we're going to
They're
have.
basically going to gather it and then put it, correlate it in some way, manner or means, and put it in a report.
Correct.
Just request from accountant and
Could we do
bring
that?
to the.
Not. I mean, if you had a
To give
lot
to the manager.
of time, sure. But you're gonna have to try to figure out. You're gonna have to go around. You're gonna have to go through the stuff you don't have estimates for. You're gonna have to try to figure out the condition it's in, the usable years left, the amount of time that's remaining. You're
But
gonna
they're
have
not
to.
doing that either. They're doing a broad range based upon experience with their other companies.
They're also going to be on site. So again, I mean, if you want, sure, but you're going to have to find someone who's willing to. This is a huge undertaking. I mean, as Randall will tell you, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head what Sedgwick quoted for a time period, but I can remember from Association Reserve, it's like 8 weeks. This is a huge undertaking.
What's the other company's name?
The Sedgwick and Association Reserves.
We get a sample of what their product is that
Yeah,
they provide.
yeah. Randall sent it to everybody.
Excuse me?
I sent it to everybody.
They're substantial documents. You're talking 80 to 100 pages at least.
Yeah.
Yes,
How many pages did this encompass that you gave?
Not that many.
Well, I appreciate it if you could send me a copy of it, because I don't recall seeing it. And I have all your managers' reports, but I don't recall opening that.
Yeah, the manager's report, right down underneath, it'll say,
I could have missed it.
yeah, open
Not that I ever
open
missed it.
4 documents or open 2 documents or whatever, and then when you click on that, they all pop up in little boxes.
One thing is clear though. We need, if we're not going to vote on this today, we need to vote on this like next meeting, because if it takes, it's
Okay.
going to take us. First of all, they don't start. Their clock doesn't start till they have the upfront payment. And then from there, it's going to be 6. It's going to be 6 to 8 weeks minimum. So if
And
in
your
order,
quote was 2,800?
yeah, for the 1 year, yeah. So
And
Which
how often
company
do we
was
need
this?
to do this report? Every year?
you're supposed to. Normally, HOAs do this every 3 to 5 years for the full report, and in some states, it's actually required by law.
Do we know when we last did one?
You haven't done one in 4 or 5 years at least. Because I would have a copy of it already.
Maybe since Tennyson.
I doubt.
Tennyson did not do.
I doubt it's
No,
been
I'm
done.
saying
in-
since,
You know, one
Yeah,
of the
decade.
things I'd like to recommend, Chris, now that you got your hands on the information on your computer, is to start us to create a
19,
history
17,
of our,
16 is
financial
Tennyson.
records.
5 years ago
so
was
that we could
Tennyson.
do analysis and
6
go
years
back
ago
and
was
take a look at
Tennyson.
where we are, where we've been, and maybe do a little better forecast and know where we need to be.
We have all of the financials organized at this point, mostly into folders, with most of them already digitized. In some cases, I already have financial models for most of this stuff. But I mean,
Do you have our financial records digitized right now for
Yeah.
the last 4 years?
yeah, they're mostly in scan format. They're not in some of them are in Excel, some of them are not. But yeah, they're all digitized.
I sent it from 2016.
Yeah, she gave me some of them. I've got some from Mary Lou. I've got some from Randall. I've got I'm trying to work together
What
to
would
try
it take to put together a projection of what those last 45 years that we have?
for what
For
specific?
analysis to look at to see where,
Yeah, but it's analysis
where
of
we are,
what
we've been
specifically?
doing.
What area?
Like what area?
Yeah.
You want to know like
The
P&L
general
or?
accounts, the general accounts of the association, where our expenses are, the expense accounts. Take a look at the income and expense projections of where we have been over the last 4 or 5 years, so that we can go in and look at it. And make some-
Won't our end of the year budget show us that?
Yes, to a degree.
What I'm talking about is putting it on a document that you can look side by side comparisons.
So you want
A
the
spreadsheet.
you want the kind of like the comparison is done in the end of year, but for like 5 years.
Yeah, so that you could go through
Okay.
and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then we could, because a lot of times things have gone by and we don't remember when did we do it or how did we do it. We have information in front of us that would quickly create a reference to us to know, well, we did this back then.
Whoops. Thank you, my dear.
We're coming for Cynthia.
I had to get some water earlier. I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's all.
I can look into it. Yeah, I know most of the stuff. Whenever we have like questions that people ask me, that's what I end up doing. I have to pull up and do them. But yeah, so
But they interrupt you all the time. You did not really give us yet report. Continue,
Is that
please,
about it?
because all the
Yeah.
time interruption. Yeah, it should
so yeah.
be.
Anyway, like I was saying though, just to finish, is that I would say next month we really have to get this done because
agree.
otherwise it's not. We need it before we do the budget. Otherwise it's really
And
not.
we got to start working on the budget in September.
Yeah.
Now, let me
I
see.
mean, ideally we would have done it this. Ideally would. I realize no one wants to vote on it today, but ideally we would have done it today because 2 months from today, it's because today's July, August,
September, we have to start
in September we have to start.
on the budget.
Right. So that's the unfortunate part. But
It's a little tough because if you're going to go back 5 years, CAMS was doing our financials, then GRS, and now Genie. So it's going to be a little complicated. And I sent Chris an email because looking at the way how many line items we had in the financial for reserves or for operating or for various categories, that has totally evolved and changed since 2000. I just gave him 2013 and 14, only to use them as an example of how financials were done. This would be the first year of CAMS. This would be the year when Tennyson was running it and Sally hired CAMS. Back then, 2013, 14.
We don't have to go back that far.
Well, no, it's for Chris, who's never been a treasurer, for him to analyze how financials were done then versus how Genie is doing them now. They're very different. And they lead to confusion for someone like me who's used to reading financials, and certain line items are now, and just like we're got junk into reserves.
Well, maybe one of the good things that you might be able to do, because of your experience with this, is to note those categories where we have differences.
I already emailed Chris at the beginning.
And then we can put footnote notations on the items too, like the last was saying, these accounts held these funds in this manner.
Right.
So you know you got a differential when you review numbers.
Right.
You don't have to carry it forward and keep going with that.
No.
This is only a reference point, okay?
Yeah, and I only wanted, because Chris has a good brain, and he's very diligent, and I just wanted him to see how they've been done in the past, the financials, to give him an idea of whether he is comfortable with the way Jeannie's doing them now, or do we need to tweak them? Do we need to review
I mean, we're
line
definitely tweaking
items?
some of the categories. There's no question about that.
Right, that's what I feel. That's how I feel, tweaking the categories. I agree.
So, but yeah. So anyway, I would. I guess Randall can resend the 2 proposals we've got previously. I would not have been frankly bothered with Sedgwick's proposal, but
Okay.
you can look at it
You
by
prefer association reserves?
a lot. Sedgwick has
Okay.
not only their proposal was a lot worse, but also just the online reviews of them are just horrific. They have
really?
They have like a cumulative 1.2 or 1.3 rating on most sites. So
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Do we have a third one? Is there a third one that exists?
I know Randall's got a list. We can get more quotes.
Well, usually we get 3 quotes in
Yeah.
these situations. So if Sedgwick is a bomb and Associated Reserves is promising, let's get one more this month.
Yeah, but I think it'd be good to get this at the very minimum at the next HOA meeting.
Yeah, but you
Or
could,
maybe this is something that we do a special meeting
you
for,
could
honestly.
give Chris the names to come.
Because the earlier we get this done, the better.
You did, okay. So,
That would be my.
so check the reviews on
Yeah.
the ones Randall gave you, and if one of them has good reviews, go after it.
Okay. But yeah, I might
Right?
be, yeah, it might be worth doing a special meeting just to approve because
Yeah, we can do that too.
if
Right,
we can get it started later this month, that at least means we can have it in time to start budget planning, which I think would be very
Yeah, I
helpful.
know.
Larry?
Okay,
We
what's,
should go get Ian crawling on that.
That's it. Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay.
Randall?
All right, we're gonna do the manager's report. Go ahead, Randall.
All right, so let's see, a little bit of landscaping things to talk about, I guess. Concerns, well, actually going back a little bit, there was some edging that, I kind of talked to them about, and it, much improved. A little bit of hedge trimming that we talked about, some specific units that's improved. And then now the length of cut is a major concern. So we had meeting yesterday, today, to talk about how to go forward, which I believe, if Natalia will concur, that should be good going forward. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you understood everything, thank you very much.
So yeah, I mean, they want to do anything, to please us and do it right. I'm surprised he's not here. Was a little complaint about being too high. Got complaint being too low. We got complaints too high. So maybe we can find some happy medium. Moving on to tree removals. Natalia and I went around and looked at what should be the first things to do, because we've been talking about this so much. We previously had a proposal already, already voted on. It happened to be 8 trees, but they weren't specific as to which ones. So, and it was such a while ago. I wanted some reminder. I knew Natalia could help. And then Larry and I went around one day to try and, see, where should we start with the ficus. We know that there's a few, some dead trees, like a Royal Poinciana that's obviously dead, we need to remove. Another, like a rosewood that's dead, needs to go. That was 2 for sure that was on there. But then Natalia and I, found, there's 3 or 4 small, just dead, ugly things in the ground that, what are they doing there? Let's get rid of them. And then I showed Natalia the same 2 that I showed Larry, that the ficus that are on the same street affecting 2 different units, like the plumbing. Roots, I'm talking about underneath the slab, up, where roots were found, like, close to the downstairs toilet, maybe 4 or 5 feet away, because the camera gets in there and they know, they can see where it happens. So we're talking about underneath the slab where there's issues, and there's 2 units, that were affected in that same way. So, I think maybe if we're going to go removing ficus, maybe those 2 would be a good place to start. All the others that are pegged on our list and earmarked to be removed all have to do with concrete, damaging concrete. And we've said in the past, a couple times that we've kind of go over this, that why don't we wait before we remove that ficus tree to do the concrete repair, and once the old bad concrete is lifted up, we can take a look and see what's going on under there. See where the roots are going, see if they're really causing the issue, which most likely they are. But let's, instead of just removing the tree before the concrete gets done.
But as you know,
to look at it.
the ficus by me, by the fire hydrant, that concrete was replaced like
Yeah.
12, 15 years ago, and now it's all cracked again. And you can watch, you can literally follow the roots of the ficus away from the base of the tree and see them go down under the concrete edge.
You
Yeah.
can remove that tree with where fire hydrant very close, where very.
Well,
So,
that's
you know,
why
we gotta really decide on the plan, like we don't have, we can remove 2 or 3. I definitely like to remove those real, not the ficus, but the dead trees. There's 4 or 5, 6.
And I think that my thoughts are we should get rid of those definitely, and the 2 ficus on 57th Way that are causing all the problems with the
That would be a
roots.
good place to start, and then, you know, we're, you know, hurting with money-wise as far as, you know, this year's budget.
Excuse me, we have we have more than 100,000 in reserves for
But,
trees.
but,
For trees.
but Mary
We've
Lou,
been saving it for years.
We have other financial.
we have other financial issues that are more important right now.
And have you
So-
confirmed with
We
Rawson
will be
So-
that
taken care
we
of.
can remove money out of a reserve
Well, we
and
can.
use it in operating?
Yes.
Yes. you
Confirm
can.
that with Rawson.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I've heard 2 opinions, so that's fine.
Your other opinion.
It's not an
No, we can
opinions,
remove
I
that.
told you in the
It's a-
past,
it's
they're
a-
non-statutory, we can do
The
anything we want with
homeowners
them.
It's all
association
money, we can do
bureaus.
what we want with it.
Exactly, you just gotta specify
We just happen
where it's
to
going, and it has to be
categorize it just
specific.
for organization way, but we can do anything we want.
Yeah, what I would like to see is, like I said, the dead trees plus those 2 ficus.
3 ficus, because one of it's, you say, you need.
I think you should do the one by me because that's where Bill Burns tripped and
Is
fell
she
and
afraid
sued
that
us
it
and
can
got
be
a lot of
damaged?
money. Let's get
All right,
rid of
That
it.
was
let's talk-
over a rut caused by the garbage truck. not
Well,
by a
okay, all
ficus.
right, let me
It's the
just stop you
same,
for a
but the
minute.
root was
Hold-
right
hold-
there
Let me
by
just
it.
stop you, because this is actually part of old business on the agenda. Let me get through the
Right.
manager's report. I just
Sorry.
wanted to talk about what I've done, you know, to assess what we should be doing.
All right.
Next thing is concrete repairs, which again, hold your questions to the end. That's on the agenda as well. Concrete, meeting with Shenandoah tomorrow to get, quote, basically to show them some of the 2, maybe, because again, we're not doing everything. We're going to, you know, small, you know, little baby steps, a couple areas that, you know, maybe we might rethink it based on what Chris just talked about, you know, trying
Well,
to
you
stick.
said you made a note of the worst
Well,
areas.
I have the note of the worst areas.
Okay,
I'm
so-
also want to talk to him about some cracks as far as warranty work. So I'm meeting with them 10:30 tomorrow morning
Right.
to talk about last year's work and what kind of warranty they're going to do, you know, provide for us as far as why they're going to do
Can you
anything
share
about it.
with us the areas, the streets where you found the ones you're recommending, please?
I don't. They're on my notes. I don't have them with me right here.
It's your manager's report, you don't have it? You're reporting on concrete repair worst areas?
No,
You
but
don't
he
have
did-
it?
I didn't get specific as to which ones. I have my own notes as to which ones.
Yeah,
but they're
he,
not
he
here.
made a
You
list
don't
of
have
the
that
worst.
list with you?
I do not, Mary Lou. I do not. It's on my notepad at the office.
All right, so we need the list.
But we
Um,
need to do something on concrete repairs, if for no other reason, to protect us if there's injuries or lawsuits. We have to show we're making an attempt.
Of course.
Doesn't have to be a bunch, but we need to do something.
But. we
Okay,
as a
that's on
board-
the agenda.
Yeah, we as a board need to vote on, and in order to vote on spending this money, we need to
Well,
know.
we're gonna have to wait and see what the proposals
Yeah,
are,
how
so we're
much
not
is
gonna
it
We
be
have
voting
him
on it tonight.
But he did not
Yes.
finish yet, he will.
Wait,
Yeah.
you clarify questions. You can ask
He will
him.
do that.
Just let him finish his report.
Go ahead.
Plumbing, you know, it's really not a whole lot to talk about there. It's kind of the usual stuff. Although I gotta debate every single bill that we get from Buckeye, as far as, you know, just arguing bills and then they end up dropping it. But I have to call them every time on every single bill. Roofing issues, you know, we kind of, well, this is what I wanted to talk about with Campany. I am increasingly getting frustrated or a little unhappy with Campany roofing. There's just, we've met with them, you know, once or twice. They're just not communicating with me very well at all. I still have not heard what they came up with on Joe's place today. They inspected 3 things today.
Well, you were supposed to be there today, man.
No, I wasn't supposed to be there, Joe. Okay.
Excuse me. Larry told me that you was going to be there and asked me to be there, that they were coming to my house today.
Okay. First of all, they were on 3 different roofs that they were going to be inspecting. I don't know which one they're going to be on at what time.
They already finished everything.
I know they did. I know they did, but I also have 25,000 other things that I have to do. Okay, so I can't be there every single time.
Hey,
I
look,
try
I'm not
to.
questioning you.
Well, you are
All
questioning
What
me.
I'm questioning you is that I was told that you would be there. In fact, Larry asked me, was Randall there? And I said, no, he didn't show. Now, I assumed that it was because you may have gone to the hospital, but I don't know if you did that in the morning.
I didn't go to any
Because this was
hospital.
going
I don't
to
even
be
know
in
what
the
you're talking. Hospital.
Well, wherever the hell you went for your COVID examination. Okay?
All right. So what's me being there have to do with anything?
You're our manager. Your job is to be there when we have repair people on the
Okay. What if there's a repair going on one side of the community, another repair going on the other side, another one going on the other side? I can't be everywhere in one place.
And you have to manage it accordingly. I can't tell you how to do your job.
What I count on is that Renee, the project manager, will communicate with me and say, Randy, this is what we found. All right, this is what we got. Now,
And that's the proper way.
I've been on other when I can. I can't get to every single solitary one. They had them go to 3 of them today, and I just couldn't be on all of them. So, I mean, I've got, a billion other things that I do, that I have to do. And if you think that's not the case, then come hang with me every day, and you'll see exactly what I go through.
You know, I
and
don't care
do.
what you're doing, you're being paid for what you're doing. All I'm caring about is that you have a responsibility.
All right, Joe, you're the one who interrupted and said, let him finish his
I'm
report.
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm out of order. I'm out of
So,
So
Campany is, they just don't respond to assessments of things. Now, this flood problem we had with them, this was on a Saturday, and I saw the guys up there jamming tree branches and all kinds of stuff into this drain. And they don't speak a lick of English, because I'm asking them, what are you doing? And then I'm like, okay, I'll call Renee. Renee, the guys are up there on the roof. What are they doing? I don't understand what they're doing. They sent him a picture. I called, it's a Saturday. I can hear he's with his family and all this kind of stuff, because he doesn't work weekends. I said, all right, listen, because I'll assess it on Monday. They sent him pictures. I'll assess it on Monday. I don't hear from him Monday. I also had him on 3 other buildings that day. So 4 buildings total to check drains and to check another leaking issue, edge of a roof. So again, I'm waiting on assessments for these things, and he's not telling me what's going on. Yesterday, I spoke to him yesterday about Natalia's place. I said, Renee, Natalia told me that they were in and out of there in 20 minutes. Like, what did they do? Oh, well, no. Okay, I'll find out. He still hasn't called me back. I still haven't heard from him from yesterday, and he was on 3 roofs today. Now I'm hearing for the first time from Joe, because that's what the guys told him, that they don't clean roof drains. Well, what were they doing jamming stuff in this roof last week? The reason why I believe he said that to you is because they probably got orders now because they know they broke that drain last week. And they're like, they don't want to be held accountable.
You're not going to be able to prove that they did that.
A pipe doesn't fall off by itself. When I witnessed them jamming stuff into the drain.
Natasha had leaks in her house that came from...
I'm not talking about Natalia's. I'm talking about
talking
another one.
I have
All right, I'm going to get through this report. So, Campany, I'm just increasingly not, happy with them. So, all right, what else? Crime. We've had.
Go ahead, Randall, I'm listening.
Crime. We had some break-ins, 2 units, and to answer Mary Lou's wanting to know who they are, where they are, when did it happen. I don't know anything about them. I happen to roll up. I get a neighbor called me about one, who a neighbor is calling, or a resident that knows me called me about her neighbor, a renter that had theirs broken into. So I had gone over and I talked to those renters. Then the next day, I roll up onto a street where there's cops. I have no idea. I just happen to get on the street, and here's a bunch of cops. And what's going on? Break-ins. It's the same person or same little group, whatever. They arrested him. The guy didn't even want to talk to me. He's like, but the cop, the sheriff, did not want to talk to me. And he's like, we got them. They're arrested. They're facing charges. Da 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 da. Okay. So then, for me to try and find out what happened, they won't even give you any information whatsoever. Even the victims can't get information for like 10 days because it's under investigation. So I know nothing about them. The cars that I mentioned, I didn't know anything about them. A resident told me about the cars. And they just, because we're in conversation, just talking about stuff, chit-chatting. Oh yeah, and there's, a car last week was stolen. Well, nobody calls me and tells me their car was stolen. So I don't know anything about it. All right? And, so that's the answer. And I reported.
Local police who have come and made
I've
presentations
been
to us?
trying for 3 years to get copies of police reports sent to me, and they said you have to go pick them up.
All you would be asking, you don't even need the reports, is just what unit numbers were broken into. That would help us.
I know 2 of the 3. I don't know what the third one is.
Can you share that with us?
5008 and 5407.
5008 and 5407? All right, well, that's what I asked, if you knew them, so you know 2 of the 3. Well, that's great.
Police rental units or?
No, I don't. The third one I have no idea. I don't even know which one it was. One's an owner occupied. The other one's a rental.
We can look on the H report or the financials and see who's the owner and who's the adjuster.
Well, I just told you. Once.
Well, no, but I mean, yeah.
So, and I'm hoping that, in light of this kind of stuff with cars and break-ins and, dumpster stuff, I would love next year to really consider, community, wide video surveillance. I think we really, really need
It's
it.
impossible here. They already come and tell us.
I know, but
It's-
maybe
it's-
things have changed. Maybe there's different
it costs
technology.
so
Maybe
much.
we can get a different price. I don't know, but we can't just go on forever without it. I think we're in a day and age we have to have it. And it'll maybe end up, well, just with the dumpster stuff alone might pay it back after a few years because we just can't catch the people who are leaving bulk items.
This guy explained us how serious the system is. It will be very hard, and it's.
It wouldn't be very hard at all.
It must be.
There's so many communities that have it. I can't. Why is ours so hard?
Because it must be special place where everything collected and
Right.
somebody must watch it there. We cannot afford it. Too expensive.
Well, not somebody has to
It's
watch
over
it.
$1 million.
Nobody has to watch it live, but
Over $1 million,
it gets
even recorded.
gets recorded.
It
And all you
must
gotta
be
do is
some building, some place where this guy was talking for
Yeah.
everybody. I don't know.
No, there's a hard drive. A computer has to
Do you
be.
have memory?
It's all. I
Here.
remember, but that was like 3 years ago.
He told us it's impossible here.
It's not
Okay,
impossible.
all right, I don't want to it's not on the agenda, I don't want to get into a long
All right,
discussion about video surveillance. We'll put it on the agenda when the time comes.
All right. So that's all I was saying was consider it for
Right.
next
For
year.
next year, yeah. I agree.
Like a consider. I said.
Consider it, I agree.
That's pretty much.
Do we know how
That's
many entranceways we have into the community?
entry.
Entries, points.
Well, I mean, we got 19 streets, so I mean,
We have 18 streets?
19 streets.
19 streets?
Well, that's 19 ways.
That's 19 ways, but there's more.
51st is one entrance, so.
Yeah, I mean, like a
But most
couple.
of them don't have an egress. Once you come in, you gotta come out the same way you
That's
came.
all.
Well, that's
Yes.
every single one.
Okay, then the point being that what we might look at is putting in a
Just the
surveillance
entranceway?
system at the entrances.
Yeah. This way, if somebody's coming in, at least you can get that person coming in at a
See who
certain
the hell's
time.
coming through and
But anyway, like Larry says, it's not on the agenda, and I just was pointing it out just to think about it for the
That's
future.
an idea.
All right. Okay, is that it, Randall? Yes.
Not what I mean.
All right, so now we're going to discuss a tree removal plan. So, I I make a motion that we do the dead trees plus the 2 ficus on 57th Way that are causing the most problems with drainage first. Not to say that that'll be the only ones, but we need to start. And we don't need all these dead trees destroying the appearance of the community. It's starting to look pretty good, so if we can get those done, and then we need to discuss what we're going to replace those trees with.
Okay. I'm second.
But that'll be at a future meeting. So
Also,
Can I ask a question regarding tree removal? These trees on 57th Way or whatever the heck it is that we're talking about, these are ficus trees?
ficus,
On 57?
yes.
Do we know in the contract of the tree removal, what exactly they're going to do besides just cutting it down to the ground? Because all these ficus trees run huge branches under the ground,
roots.
under patios, the roots. Okay, I've got them on mine. They haven't never affected my patio, thank God. But I've got roots that are the size of your head.
No,
Okay?
no, it's true. And
So
they seek
I know
water.
that they do. What I'm saying is, once they start tearing this up, at what point are they going to shave it off? Because I still have roots that are growing out from when they removed that ficus by me. They never took all.
Well, if you cut the tree down, shouldn't those roots die
No, they don't.
and rot?
I still have a root this big, this deep on my front lawn. Rita was president when she cut down the ficus and planted a red maple. And I still have that root of that ficus, and it's now crawling under my 2 parking spaces and corrupting them again, cracking them again, even though they were fixed, dug up.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, no, but I'm saying this is typical, and where I wanted the ficus by me, it's already breaking the concrete driveway that people walk to get to the mailbox and to the dumpster. But ficus trees seek water. They have what are called shallow roots.
Right, I understand that.
Right.
When the tree's gone, you mean the roots still seek
No,
water?
no, when you do a contract to remove a ficus tree, which I have done, and we had in a bid in 2018 we started this, and we had a couple of bids. They have to remove the roots as well.
All of them?
Or everything within, let's say, the size of my front lawn.
Now you're talking money.
Well, it's,
Now you're talking.
I was gonna say, this is gonna
it was
cost-
about-
It's just a tree.
Let me finish.
It's not just a tree.
2018, it was
It's not-
about $1,000
The reason I
a
brought
tree.
this up was for this very reason.
It's about
Is that you were
$1,000
going
a tree.
to allude to the root system across the spectrum.
Right.
You are not going to start spending.
No, you're not understanding.
I
me.
do understand you.
The roots of the trees, when they cut down the tree, we have tree bowls, right? And in those tree rings or tree bowls, you can see roots going under the grass. Okay, that's the roots he has to dig up.
No way going to happen.
Well,
Well,
no, I think that's possible.
You're
Yes,
not going
and
to
it
do
was
it, Larry. I'm
about
telling you, you're
$1,000.
talking $20,000.
Well, we'll find out.
no, 18.
$25 a
In
foot.
2018, it was about
$25
$1,000
a
a
foot.
ficus tree.
What about when they get up on the end of
It's
fences
called
or any structure?
grinding the roots. It's called
You know
grinding
what?
the roots, Joe. That's what it's called in the contract. It's the removal of the tree and the grinding of the roots.
Grinding in the stump.
And in 2000, stump and roots. In 2018, we had some bids. I believe it was
They don't have-
18.
ficus don't have stumps.
17. We had some bids. And they were running $1,000 per ficus tree. That's what it was.
If they
running.
remove most obvious, they did not dig out everything, but
That's
just
right.
most obvious when people trip and fall, only that they remove it. It's all. If they have no foliage, they will finally decay.
Yeah, I would say within 10 to 15 feet of the tree.
Well,
What
you're
is
not the
dangerous?
expert. We'll get 3 companies to give us
Yeah,
bids.
but
What happens if a
Randall's-
tree is up against your fence and going under it? You start ripping that root out, you're going to impact the fence. You're going to have to repair it or take it down to do it. Then you got the issue of the gardening work that's done inside in the patio area that's going to be impacted.
Okay, let's.
Well, these trees
Let me
aren't-
finish my point.
They're not gonna have them problems. We're only doing 2.
Right, right.
All I'm trying to point out is that we go in with our eyes open and know what we are looking to get done and what are we going to pay for. Because you're not going to start paying for all that root removal because you're crazy. You're not going to get them because you're going to be inconvenienced by other things, like pipes that are in the ground. Other things that are going to be
I
an issue.
understand that.
So all I'm going to tell you is that we need the contractor, and this is what Randall will do for us, to tell us what he can do and what issues we may have with 1, 2. Now, if on the top of the lawn there's a root system, you can cut it with a chainsaw, pull it out. But if you start following that root system out, forget about it. You can't.
As long as the roots stop growing, I don't care if the roots that are under the ground.
Well,
are
I'm
removed or
pointing
not.
out, I don't know that they're growing, but I do know that they do not rot. These things,
That's right.
I have seen it on my own patio area. I've seen what I've done. I've chopped the roots that were inside my patio.
As long as they
and they're
stop
still
growing
there.
and clogging the sewer drains over there, that's all I care about.
Just-
And that's the question you're going to
Randall
ask.
or Larry or anybody on the board since 2016, does anyone have copies of those bids for the ficus trees that we got back in 17 or 18? Because if not, I'll dig out through my boxes and see if I can find
And
them.
they're probably not going to apply to today.
It's the companies that we went out to get the quotes so we can go
Well,
to again.
the company that Randall's meeting with has already been the low bidder.
And what's the name of that company?
It's all brothers.
Shenandoah, isn't
All
it?
brothers. All brothers.
All brothers.
Oh,
that's
our
it.
own, of that
It's all-
company we had gotten a quote from.
But we have motion on the table.
Yes, I made a motion and
they
Natalia
I
seconded.
second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Removing of this, yeah.
All right, so Randall, get the bids for the dead trees and those 2 ficus trees. And on the ficus trees, make it clear what he's going to do and what he needs to do to make sure the roots don't infect the sewer drains over there
And
anymore.
what the price is going to be. When he gives you that.
Per tree, you'll get an estimate.
Yeah, he'll get a price.
Per tree and grinding the stump and the roots within the normal range.
Because it cost us more than the root removal already to clean those sewer drains out
Now,
over there.
the other thing I was going to say to you is that as far as replacing them, I'm not familiar with what's close to these 2 on 57th. I know with the one that you're not going to do now that I've been begging for since Bill fell.
Well,
But-
that might be next month or the month after.
Okay, but here's the point,
Get started is the
Here's
key.
the point. What we need, for example, mine should not be replaced with a big tree because there's another ficus within 20 feet of it by Todd Hopkins, and there's one right across the street by the mailbox.
Right.
So to me, we don't, but what I'd like to do is because we want to plant another tree, I'd like to consider moving it over closer to.
As long as we replace a tree
village.
with a tree, it doesn't have to be in the
It doesn't
exact
have to
same
be
spot.
exact there, it could be closer to village
Yeah.
to help block the noise.
And my thoughts are, and we'll vote on that when the time comes, my thoughts are to replace, all the trees we replace should be flowering trees. Because we
that-
need to bring some color into the community,
Yeah.
the pinks and the blues and the
Yeah,
yellows.
but you have to do an investigation
Right.
as to whether they are.
Well, when you get a chance.
Well, I know that 2 of the 3, one is the white oak and the other is the,
See if there's any
maple,
flowering
the maples,
trees
but
where
those
the
are
roots
big trees.
grow deep.
yeah.
And we need trees so we don't lose leaves in the winter time because it
Right.
must be evergreen, very important because we have beautiful
Right.
trees with
Well, let me
Poinciana,
explain
some royal
something to you.
Poinciana.
No, but
and
let me
it's
explain.
6 months, I did not finish yet, Mary
I'm
Lou,
sorry.
please. 6 months we see that ugly tree without leaves, only like maybe 4 months they have leaves and flowers. And so
Okay.
we need something so we're evergreen.
The red maple that's on my front lawn, it does shed some leaves in the fall, and it blooms in the spring. However, it's not like New York or Massachusetts or somewhere, Boston. It's here. So its period of losing leaves is so short. It's not fall and winter,
Right.
and it doesn't wait till summer to bloom again.
No, we don't need that, Mary Lou. We should not.
Excuse me,
with
they're
Florida.
very healthy. The maple is extremely healthy. It is Florida approved for the whole state. The roots grow straight down, and it's hardy and healthy, and it's
They'll
beautiful.
withstand hurricanes.
Come and look at mine, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, they withstand.
All right, so we'll get into that.
I'm happy to recommend a few other trees. for you.
Okay.
We all can
All
look
right,
at here.
so now let's talk about concrete repairs. Randall got some bids or no, he got the list of the worst areas, and he's going to get some bids. And he'll bring that to us, and maybe to speed things up, we can either wait till August meeting, or we can do an
We can vote
online
We can
vote and
online.
ratify it at the next
Providing we
meeting.
have access to the bids, the three
Right,
bids.
right.
Yeah, sure.
So once you get that together,
But that's not a,
Do we need to have meeting with that special research for our financials? What,
Yeah, we're gonna.
we don't need special meeting, no?
I don't know.
We can go through emails, something, you told that we need special.
For the reserve, yeah.
For the reserve, what we can do? We decide to through email, because of COVID, we can do through email.
You can't vote by email, period.
no, we're not voting. We're just, well, we can, as long as we ratify it at the next meeting.
that's right. This is just,
That's according to our attorney.
yeah, no, and we've done it before.
Yeah, because
We did it last year.
we can do things faster. We don't wait, we don't drag our feet so
Well,
long.
and this is not a community-wide project. This is a,
And plus, it's now currency, we have
Doesn't matter
special
what it
situation.
is, it's board business.
no, we're allowed to, when we voted
No,
last
you
year.
can't. No, you can't, Mary Lou.
No, but now special situation. Now
It's the
people,
law,
we
but
can
you know,
talk
you
through
guys
Zoom.
can go skirt
Okay,
around
we
it
can meet
all
through
you
Zoom.
want.
Okay, not email, we can meet through Zoom, it is make decision because we drag
It
our
has to
feet
be
too
at
long.
a board meeting, a noticed, a
That's how
duly
the boss
noticed
told us
board
last
meeting.
year.
Well, no, I bet you that's not true.
I'll check. Anyway, if we have to, we'll just hold a quick special meeting.
Okay.
All right, next is the water management. Have we made any progress, Joe?
Yeah, $20,000 to do the study. Okay? That's up front. My suggestion to talk to him, and I won't do this until I talk to you guys on the board, is that we would offer him a deal. If he does the study, we'll give him a percentage of the savings, but not $20,000 up front. We can't afford it right now. Okay? But,
Well, it all depends. Can you get him at a meeting?
yeah, I could get him at a meeting. I'm going to come to this meeting? No.
Is this
Go to his office.
a representative of the sub-metering company? Like who told you that?
Excuse me?
I'm saying,
The head of the company, the guy that
Of what
owns the
company?
company.
what company?
It's a multi-state company.
I mean, a sub-metering company, that's what I'm asking.
No, it's not submarine. He's an engineer.
Okay.
To do a report regarding the feasibility of taking our water and going on individual meters.
Right.
Okay? And he needs to look at the layout of our property and what we have right now to determine whether or not it's even feasible. Okay? Now, right now, I still don't know, from a legal standpoint, whether we could simply tell West Palm, to hell with you, we're going individual. I don't know that yet. Okay? We know that there are communities like ours that have done it, but they may have done it from the get-go. Okay, like Saratoga Point. They were all individually metered. Okay? So I don't know what we were doing and the responsibility of the equipment. Okay, we have centralized recording stations or distribution stations for water in and around our property. That's not we don't own that. That's owned by West Palm Beach. Okay? So I don't know what we could do to go in and reroute something off of that. We have to get permission to do. Okay? So I'm not in that.
So you're saying where our meters are, that is on West Palm Beach land?
I'm saying that equipment, just like the Johnny pumps.
That can't be true, Joe, because why are we spending thousands of dollars replacing it then? We just spent
Replacing what?
the valves that you're talking about, the
No,
meters.
Backflow valves.
You're talking about the
We're not talking about the backflow valves. We're talking about the water meters.
Talking about the water meters, okay?
Right, and the meters are, we have 22 of them. So, and that, I would really look into that. I think we own them, just like we own the fire hydrants.
Yeah, and years ago,
I mean, I just want to get somebody out here
When we went out
to tell like a sub-metering
07 or
company or
08.
something, because I just don't understand why you can't slap a meter on each building. It just doesn't, I don't see,
On each unit's water line, we should be able to put a meter.
I can't imagine why we can't.
No,
I've had other,
there's a catch to that, and I wish
Well-
that I had all those notes from 07, 08.
we get a sub-metering company out here.
If
But
those
it was a
22,
multi-million
if
dollar.
those 22 pumps are metered, okay, and monitored by West Palm Beach,
Right.
okay? You can put all the individual meters you want on, and they don't give a damn. They're gonna take what their readings are off their meters. So what you do is gonna do nothing, okay? Unless you
No,
go
but we'll be able to pay the bill fairly, because your bill will be less than somebody else's.
No,
that has-
because I can't tell, you can't tell me that there isn't water waste going on in the, before that water meter comes distributed to my home, that there isn't a line break someplace
May
that's
I-
causing
May I
leakage.
speak to?
You're never gonna get that through. You'll be in a legal battle in a heartbeat, okay? That's not the way that's gotta work. You gotta get the distribution from the lines that we have, get West Palm the hell out of it, and then we can
Right,
control
well,
the
see,
individual.
that was always my question as to the logistics of, from the valve to the unit.
That's why we need an
You know,
engineer to
that-
look at it and tell us
Right,
what it is.
that length, how is that gonna be measured? Well, you know, like I say, well, it doesn't matter, it's still, the water comes up to the building, gets spread to 4 units, there's a meter on each unit, there you go. But just like you say, what if there's a break between there
Yes.
and the unit?
Yes.
Who pays for that?
Randall,
Well, if it doesn't go through the meter,
It's going through the meter at the meter.
Could I
West
jump
Palm.
in?
not if a line breaks.
we have 22 meters, right, around the property that Florida,
Right.
that the water company reads,
Mhm.
those meters.
Right.
Okay. If I recall, when we went to try to do this years ago, the problem is that from those meters, each of those meters serves quite a few units.
Right.
And it isn't just simple that, okay, so it services those 15 units and we're just going to put meters on them. It has to do with the water lines that run from those 22 meters to buildings, and that some of those would have to be replaced, or at least that's what we were told in 07, 08, 09.
It's really, really strange.
It was over $1 million to do it back then. And I think when we have someone survey the property, I think that the problem is getting to reading the water from those 22 meters to individual meters with the water. the
Well,
flow
that
of the
was
water
always my
lines.
main question was,
And
how
it's
is that
not
gonna
like-
work?
Yeah. and
From
that's-
there to the unit, how is that gonna
And
work?
that's where I think new water lines have
And that's
to be
where-
They
installed.
exaggerated.
And that was the big bumps.
Well,
They just exaggerated.
we need to get to the bottom of it or figure out something else,
Well, I'd like to hear what a
because we can
sub-metering
no
company
longer
would have to
afford
say.
800 to $1 million a year for water.
Well,
Yeah,
it's out of control.
They just for a guy who come for a couple hours, pay him $20,000 or percentage from contract.
I mean, people
It's
do
so
what they
much.
want to do. I mean, how many people, we have 3 community pools. How many people have we caught just recently with swimming pools on their patio?
Took a picture today of one. Somebody's patio.
It's unbelievable.
They're a renter.
They were a renter?
Well, it doesn't matter whether they're a renter or a homeowner. You can't do that.
Because people not responsible because they go, look, water is free, you know? This is what
Yeah,
this is
they look at it like it's free water. Well,
It
they'll
is.
find out, they'll find out when the assessments go to $500 a month to cover the water bill.
0.04. 0.04.
All right, so,
Let me see what I can come up with, I'll talk to you next week with it.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get something moving on that. Okay, Mary Lou, you wanted on the agenda painting of the door frames.
Well, last year, we discussed, and the year before, the painting of the balcony railings and the sliding glass door frames. And we decided to be economical, if you'll all recall, and just do the balcony railings. And we put off discussing the sliding glass door frames until the next year. I'm bringing it up now because the last time they were painted is a long time ago. And
Well, I'm
just,
putting new doors in, so mine won't be on the list.
well,
There's a lot of people got noise.
Okay, so then that's good, because that would cost less money. So what we could do is a survey and find out who has put in at their own expense new sliding glass doors and who has not, and then get an estimate to paint the older 35-year-old sliding glass doors that have not been painted more than 10 years.
I used to paint mine myself. I've done it several times.
Exactly.
I just
Every
think,
Excuse
day
me.
they can paint a little.
Hold
It
on.
doesn't matter, it's
Before
the
we get into an argument.
association's responsibility to maintain the frames of the sliding glass doors. We pay $351 a month. Why would you do the work when it's
Are
supposed
we
to be done
responsible
by
for the
these?
screen on that door?
No, we are responsible for the
Why
screen.
is that the door, the screen not every part of the?
We're,
Because
we're,
this-
we're actually not responsible for the screens.
That's what I said, we're not responsible.
So then
No,
why
we as
are
an
we not
owner,
painting them then?
we
Like,
have
we'll
to
give them
replace a screen if it
I'm
tears.
just saying that the association's not
association
responsible
don't
for
put
the
a
glass or
fence.
the screens.
That's right. We are only responsible for the association for the maintenance of the frames, the metal frames.
But
Just
it's
like
not rusting. I think it's good condition.
they're not in good
Well,
I mean,
condition.
I see a lot that are faded and stuff like
If
that.
you
That's why I
wash
would
them.
paint them myself. I did it,
Well,
I've done it
But
in
not
20 years, I've done it
everybody
maybe
does that.
twice.
And an owner, okay. But for example, my
I'd like to
husband,
table this subject
my,
because
but
this is
no,
something.
why are we tabling it when
This is what we
it's
money right now to
maintaining the
do.
exteriors of our buildings? It's
well,
important.
it is, Mary Lou, and
Hasn't been
it's
done in
it's
10
something
years.
that I don't disagree it needs done, but I just think with the money situation at the moment, we can table it until we get a better
You have
handle
money in
on,
reserves for it.
well, but that reserves is gonna be eaten up awful quick.
It's not
And we
supposed to be.
may, and
It's
like
supposed
Chris
to
said,
be.
we need to curb our spending
If you're gonna,
until we see what we're gonna need that reserves for at the end of the year to balance the books.
you're gonna spend money on this,
Yeah.
and yet you didn't want to spend money on pressure cleaning, which is more of a hazard and risk
Well, no,
to.
because I believe Ed could be doing it, and he hasn't come and done it.
Well, he's doing it, Mary Lou, but do you realize putting a rubber suit on and face gear and
100-degree
help
weather.
and not 100-degree heat? How long do you think he can take that?
I feel sorry for him.
Before we find him laying in a heap.
Right,
All right,
you
may
have
I-
this
may I
vibration.
ask- may I
Let them eat cake.
May I reach out to Coastal Painting, or have Randall reach out to Coastal Painting? That's the company who painted the balcony railings, and just get a quote.
You can get a quote, but
Per unit
we're not
to
going to
paint.
vote on it until we know what
Can
we
I ask
have.
one question about the frames? I have the frames. So the brass frames, they are a little dark, but they don't discolor. They get
No, it's
adhesion.
rusting, they rust out, just like the
Rusted?
balcony.
I don't know how you take
Rust,
care of your
they
house, but
fade.
mine aren't rusted.
They're
And mine's, they had
I
35
don't
years.
paint anything outside, it's the association's responsibility.
Oh, give me
The
a
brick
break,
walls,
please.
the concrete walls, the sliding glass door frames,
Well,
the
it's,
railings.
I
should not
agree,
spend my
it's
money when I'm
our
paying
it's
maintenance
our
for it every month.
responsibility, but like I
It is.
said, right now, it's not at the top of the list, so we're gonna table it until we see.
Well, can we at least get an
We
estimate
can get a bid, but
per unit?
there's no vote.
Well, maybe it could be in the budget for next year. as
Well,
well.
I gotta call
yes.
Coastal anyway, because I need
Okay.
touch-up paint. I wanna know what paint they use so we can have
On
some
the
for touch.
balcony railings?
Yeah, for
We
touch-up.
had it in the bid, the color, number, name, and whatever was in the bid.
Yeah, I need some of that
And
too.
you can find,
one or two out there that haven't been painted.
oh, mine are perfect. Well, they must have been absentee owners maybe or something.
No, they just didn't let them in and stuff like that.
Oh, I remember that somebody wouldn't let them go upstairs onto the,
Can't stop us.
yeah, well, I remember that.
To maintain the buildings, they can't
I
prevent
know,
us from
I
this.
know, I know. Okay.
Can we have copy of every document was sent? I do not know if they sent to the manager or they sent to president. So we have every bill and every document was sent. I remember him send us status report every single month. But after that, we start have like every 4 months. This year we have only one. But should we get everything, every status report, every invoice from the attorney, detailed report
attorney
for
doesn't see
in other
them.
things
Well,
because
quarterly, I would say
we like
quarterly would
board
be
members,
nice.
we're responsible for, we should have copy. So what is secrecy about? We should have copy
Well,
of
there's
the
no
document.
secrecy. Every month it shows how much we pay Buckeye Plumbing.
No, we're talking about Rawson. She's talking about
No,
Rawson.
no, I talk about Rosen, I
Yeah.
talk about another, yeah, but we must to have that, because if we paying him, if we should not keep in, what is the secrecy? We must have, we must,
I get detailed invoices from Ross, and I'm happy to pass them on to
Well, you should forward them to the
we
board,
must, we
frankly.
board members.
That's
We-
not privileged
We responsible, if
information.
somebody sue, they sue board, they don't sue only president. We will be sued.
I
If
just
something
said
happen,
that. It's not
everybody
privileged
must have
information,
copy.
right.
It's,
If it
I
can,
do not
if
know.
the financials can go to Jeannie, they can go to the board of directors.
Everybody must have, I do not know. Do we need vote for that or not? We should get it by rules.
Okay, I'll be happy to send them to you.
All right, now we had this one,
Not
which
only
we
me, does
got.
everybody want to?
This was
Yeah.
dated May 31st. We got that one. dated-
Only one. you
Yeah,
saw.
May 31st,
Yeah, yeah,
yes. That's the one we got, I printed it out.
Yeah, so this is what, we don't know.
Do we have a
Yeah.
way of printing those invoices at the office printer? Just for the attorney invoices, print them, and then email them to everybody.
I can
If you
email.
have a way.
No,
Or
Jeannie did it.
could
I
you
can
do it,
email
Chris?
them, yeah. I've
Yeah,
got
but here, I'll read it to you. This came
No, no,
from,
Chris will take care of it.
no, no,
Uh,
but let me explain to you. This
How many
came
invoices are we
from,
talking about?
this came from
I don't even
Village of
get them.
Sandalwood Lake
He
South
sends them
in care of the
directly to
General
Ken.
Ledger of Palm Beaches Corporate Way, West
It's the
Palm.
only invoice that I don't get
So,
directly.
we
All
got
the other
this as
invoices
part of
come
the
to me.
financials
I go
from
over them,
Jeannie.
approve them, and I
May
go-
31st
I go over
financials.
them, make sure they're all good.
Only
Okay.
Send
one,
them to the
but
general
we
ledger.
should get.
Well,
upload
because
it for
we
approval.
asked for it, Natalia, we
But
finally got
Ross's
it,
Yeah,
you
but-
and I.
I don't.
But we
he
must
hasn't
have it.
sent to me.
I
Sent
don't
to the
understand,
general
what
ledger.
is it?
Yeah.
And then it gets uploaded just like the rest.
See, Larry, if you look
That's-
at where it
that's the
came
only
from,
time
it
I
came
can see
from
it.
Jeannie.
Yeah.
It didn't come
We're gonna
directly
see
from
by
Rawson,
looking
it
at
came
No,
from Jeannie.
I don't get them directly from Ross.
Right,
She
they
gets
go
them
to
directly.
Jeannie and then she should,
What
I asked her
the
by
charge is.
email, would she forward it to every board member?
I'll
And
tell
she
her.
said, last month, she said she couldn't without your permission.
Well,
And I
she
said,
has it, I'll
and
let
I
her
said,
know.
Jeannie, every board member is entitled to have a copy of all bills.
Yeah, I've got nothing to hide there.
All bills?
Unless they're privileged, the board of directors.
Yes, we are, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we agree on that. In another question, last question, about the Steve, can we give him 2 months instead of 3 months? Person begging for almost 4
I thought
months.
we
he's
resolved that. Isn't that
Asking,
resolved?
give
No?
him 2 months, because if he asking, they give him 3 months, he want 2 months. Can you give them this 2 months? I do not know.
I think
What,
it's-
before we send them a letter?
No, the
no, I
renter.
talk about
The
the
man,
rent.
the owner,
Guy wants a 2-month extension.
the man
2
who
months
wants, I
extension, why
thought
we
we
don't
gave
give
it to
him the
him.
4 months?
We
of
gave
the-
him a 3-month extension. That's according
Based
to
on the
our
budget.
governing documents. We can't change what's on the governing documents without a vote of the membership.
Right, exactly.
So it has to be 3 months. I don't know what it takes to get this through people's heads.
Do you have?
But isn't it
Just
starting
because we're
August
board
1st? It
members
should be
doesn't
done.
mean we can change what's
Isn't
in
it
our
August?
documents.
But
Well,
this is
September
what I
1st,
found
but he
document.
needs to know in August.
Here,
I'm gonna go over this
it's our
again.
rules, our rules. They said that if it's good standing, we should not too much interfere with a person who is, renting, we're just supervising. Why we cannot give him just 2 months instead of 3
Because if
months?
we did it for him, and anybody that wanted to rent a place in here and said, listen, I got a renter, but it's only going to be 2 months
1 month.
or 1 month, would have to honor it, otherwise we get sued for
But
discriminating.
it's over 6 months. In the rule says
Put it to
it's
bed.
over 6 months.
Oh,
It's over. I'm done discussing that.
Okay, can I promote, can we take motion to give this person 2 months on top of his 9 months?
voted
If it
on
will
this.
be before,
We voted on it. Okay, I'll
We did
second
not
the
vote.
motion. All in favor? No.
I'm in favor. I'm in
All
favor
in
to give guy
favor?
to 2 months
excuse me,
instead of 3.
excuse me.
Who's in favor?
Excuse me. In favor
in
of
favor.
giving him 2 months instead of 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
Yes, because it will be 11 months.
Okay, so
What do you think?
it doesn't matter. It's a new
His
lease.
house is going to sit empty.
I'm so sick of this. Okay, we got 2 ayes. How many nays?
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't. I
It
don't know.
didn't pass
You
again.
told that,
Okay.
2-2.
Chris, you
All right.
just,
Does anybody here have
you told that
anything
it's
to say?
possible to
We
do
have
it.
2 homeowners here. We have 2 homeowners here.
I
They're
don't know.
entitled.
Help the guy.
Nothing I really have. I came here to say I wanted to make you a citizen.
I can show you what I can.
I can't believe it.
All right, our homeowners are speaking.
Listen, the lady here is speaking.
I just said our homeowner is
All right,
speaking.
go ahead again. I apologize for the inconsideration.
Oh,
I don't have anything, I didn't come to say anything, but I wanted to make a question and then comment based on what Randall said earlier, but I know it's going to be tabled in regards to the security system. But when that time actually comes about when that time actually comes about, if there's someone who's a police officer or something can give us recommendations on how to be able to set it up, because I know that seems to be the question today and in the past of what can actually be done. And I think it really will help out with a lot of the break-ins and the dumpster and so forth. And then the second one was when they get a chance, you mentioned it as well too, in regards to the paint of the railing. So maybe I can find that color as well too. I don't need it now, but I was just thinking about
Anytime you need paint, you let Randall know, he'll get you paint. Okay?
Not for the railings, because I don't know what they did.
I think I have the color. We've got
She
the
said she
color.
doesn't need it.
No, I don't need it now. That's it.
No, I don't need it now either, but I've got that. You don't have that contract anymore? You were treasurer.
All right, go ahead.
I think the new landscaping
No.
company is doing a fantastic job. But why did they leave it so long today? It was looking beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And today it looks like it's going to need to be cut in 2 more days.
So do us a favor, when you go home tonight before dark, take a look around your house. You know.
But it was looking beautiful.
Well, no, we had
No, beautiful
we
is
had to let it be longer because the rule of thumb for the summer months is that it be anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 inches in length. Now hold on.
That
No, but let me-
long, so
yeah.
it always looks like it needs to be cut.
And that is why,
always.
let me finish, Steve. That is why in the summer, we cut the grass 4 times a month. In the winter, when it grows slowly, we only cut it maybe 2 times a month. Because the cooler weather, the sun being different, it grows slower. So with the rain in the summer and the heat, the grass grows faster.
And render a subjective opinion.
And guess-
Oh, it looks nice.
Guess what?
Well, it doesn't.
No,
It's too
but that, you
long.
see, that's your opinion versus like on my way, everyone that I saw today was so thrilled with the grass being kept longer. They said it looked lush, full, healthier than being cut short the way.
Yeah, like they short.
Yeah, and
Natalia.
after we have all this rain in 2 or 3 days, you're gonna be up to here with grass.
Exactly.
And everybody's gonna be complaining that it needs cut again.
It's
But
not
they
cut-
come
it not
4
grows so
times a
fast,
month.
like you think.
How many years?
With the amount of rain we
This
get
is
this
an
time of the
ex- this
year,
month
you
is
can
an-
cut
is
2
an
inches
exception.
and
Next
it will
month.
not die. It will not die.
But I hated it last week, it was cut so short.
Mary Lou, you've been in this community for probably longer than any of us.
30 years.
You know, the schedule for cutting grass
Yes,
in the summer is
Yes.
always more than in the winter.
exactly,
That's why the contract that we agreed to
exactly.
states this is how many times we're going to
How
get
many
cut
cuts?
each
Yes,
month.
exactly.
Now, everybody wants to change the contract or raise the height of the blades to where
But
it
if
doesn't even
Steve,
look like
if
it's cut.
Steve went online and Googled, every landscape company would come back and every expert would come back and tell you what the height of the grass should be in the summer months to keep it healthy and lush looking.
Larry,
And it would
the
not be-
last
Yeah, okay.
month or so,
But
it
that's
wasn't
it.
too short.
Yeah,
It was fine for the last month. And
Well,
all
see,
of a
we all-
sudden, today,
no,
they
we-
said,
we
leave
said
it
too
alone.
short. We said
Why
too
even have them come out today?
Because we discussed it as
Okay.
a board of directors, and Randall walked the property with them,
So basically, I just want
and we gave them what we wanted.
Mr. Roker?
so you just want like 28.
Sure.
Yes, all right, the meeting's adjourned.